don't like all this wind.
Yeah, I can see that. It's pretty tough.
So we're gonna circle around and maybe sightsee a little over on the other side a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. See if I can get out of these bumps because it's not fun for me. So anyway, I told her I said, have you ever heard of pay it forward? She said, no. I said, well, if I do, or somebody does something nice for you, then you do something nice for somebody else.
Right.
And she said, oh, that's a wonderful, in her little Dutch accent,
Right.
She said, oh, that's a wonderful thing. Is that an American? I said, I wish it was, but no, I'm sure it's maybe Chinese, I guess, It sort of feels philosophical.
Right,
and,
right.
And so she said, oh, that's wonderful, thank you. And
Double Eagle Tower, November 962 Juliet Golf, request to switch over to approach at 123.9, we have to climb higher.
Experimental 2 Juliet Golf, frequency change approved.
Frequency change approved, November 962 Juliet Golf.
It sure is changing the weather suddenly, isn't it?
it is. That's why it's getting a little rough, too. I think there may be something underneath this that's coming in.
Right.
But I'll keep flying as long as it's smooth. So,
Well, now what are we looking at down here with the tower?
you mean in here?
Yeah, right over there to your left, the little tower.
Oh, you know what that is? I figured that out.
It looks like a clock tower.
It is. Well, it's supposed to look like a clock tower, but it's on the golf course.
Right.
But what it is it's a cell tower that they disguised.
Oh, right.
So it doesn't look, like all those wires and stuff. It's a nice design sitting out someplace, and it provides cell service.
Oh, yeah, they've got some pretty ingenious ways of doing that.
Yes.
Our old neighborhood had one that looked like a Norfolk pine.
You see those white buildings right there?
Yeah.
That's Intel.
Okay.
I'll tell you the story of Intel. Oh, here's a balloon right out in front of us here to the left.
Oh, I see it, yeah.
Intel came out here 25, 30 years ago and built out there, and there was really nothing there. And their original idea was to build a big plant here, and they built 3 or 4 fabs. And it was just, it was a goal, and everything was right priced, and they were going to build it. So they started hiring people. They got up to about 5,000 people. And then the people in Corrales, some people, not all of them, but some people in Corrales got sue happy and started suing and complaining about everything that Intel did.
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
And Intel said they sustained, and then they finally ended up saying, if you don't want us here, then that's okay. We'll build elsewhere. And there was practically nothing in Arizona.
Right.
Out in Ocotillo, out in Arizona, there was practically nothing. They had a small little place there, small office, whatever. And they said, well, let's go here. So they downsized here down to 1,500 people now. And they've got close to 10,000 people in Arizona.
Oh, my.
And that would have all been in revenue for New Mexico.
Right.
Taxes and everything.
Yeah, instead we're giving money to the movie industry.
Yep. So, it's a real shame that happened. A few people, because they didn't want this factory obstructing their view, or...
Yeah, there's always a few people who are unhappy. There's something all the time.
Yep. You see some pretty interesting houses over in this area here. All right, you see straight ahead, way straight out there to those mountains?
Yep,
You see those?
yep, the windmills.
Yep, that's exactly what they are.
I didn't realize there were that many in New Mexico.
I know. Somebody said that in Amarillo, coming this way, just on the other side of Amarillo, it's not 1,000, but a whole bunch of them.
I think I've actually seen that. There's a lot in Arizona too.
All right, now look straight out over here. You see that ridge where it drops down out there?
Yep,
You see that little bump on top of it? Little mountain past it?
yep.
The tallest piece out there. That's Cabazon Peak.
Okay.
You ever seen that or heard of that?
Yep.
That's an amazing, beautiful place. Do you like to hike?
Not so much anymore, but we did more.
That's beautiful out there to hike and see all of that out there.
When we first moved to New Mexico, we did just about everything we could do. Haven't been back to a lot of the places though, which is too bad.
Yeah.
What's the status on Bandelier these days anyway? With all their fires they've had out there.
Oh, it's okay.
It's all right
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
We haven't been anywhere in a long time locally.
Well, I'll tell you something that I enjoy the heck out of, and I do probably a dozen times a year. Well, I wouldn't say that much, but maybe 6 to 8 times a year. Is I take the Road Runner, or Rail Runner, I should say, up to Santa Fe,
Right,
and then I go up to, right at the end in Santa Fe at the depot there.
right,
They've got a great restaurant, Tomasito's.
okay.
It's an awesome, awesome place to eat. Food is awesome, excellent.
I don't think I've ever been to a bad place in Santa Fe. They're all good.
Yeah.
The problem with the road runner or whatever, rail runner, got me doing it now, is that there's not good transportation when you get there. You can ride a bus, but you really can't drive around or anything when you don't drive up.
Yeah.
But that train's pretty amazing for just the ride.
Yes. I wish they'd open it up to northern New Mexico and all the way down to El Paso.
Right, I do too. Of course, it's so expensive to do that.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're concentrating on the rapid transit right now.
Well, that's a good thing, too.
Well, there's an awful lot of people very unhappy.
Because of it?
Last calling
Oh,
Devil
yeah.
Eagle Tower, your transmission was broken and unreadable.
Going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
57 Juliet runway.
Last aircraft calling Double Eagle Tower, transmission broken and unreadable.
This reminds me a little bit of those model railroad things that are built. You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
We're so lucky we have such good places to fly.
Yeah. Well, I was telling Faith when we were flying over here, this area over here is owned by the BLM,
Right?
and it's also on the other side of the river is also the Indian reservation.
Right?
So we know that this area out there, you see out in front of us, how pretty it is, and it's,
Right,
you know, it's sort of, they've got lots of beauty out there, and that's going to stay like that because it's Indian reservation.
Right.
I flew a lady that's full-blooded Pueblo Indian the other day, and she was telling me that she can go back to 1511.
Oh, in her family history.
Yeah.
Wow.
And how neat is that? And you know what? She told me something that just surprised the heck out of me. And she was saying that before the Native the African Americans were slaves,
Right?
the Spanish had taken the Indians and made them slaves.
That's right.
And I didn't realize that. And they oppressed the
Well,
tribes, and you know, they were persecuted more than the Native Americans. I mean, the African Americans
That's
were.
right.
Okay,
Well, did you know that a lot of
Kilo, Double Eagle Terror,
a
wind
lot of-
calm, altimeter 3018. Landing departing runway 22. Say your position and intentions, please.
36 Kilo is 7 miles to the southeast, inbound for landing practice with hotel.
a lot of the Native a lot of the Black
36 Kilo,
Americans,
enter left downwind for runway 22.
some of the original landholders in this country were black, and a lot of people don't realize that.
How?
There were a lot of black landholders when this country was founded.
Really?
And there was a lot of struggle in the Continental Congress and whatnot, because the white people were afraid that these black landholders were getting too powerful.
No.
So they basically voted their rights away. And a lot of the black landholders lost their land.
Really?
I mean, we're talking,
I didn't know that.
We're talking 1700s.
Yeah. But where did they, how were they landowners? Where did they come from?
Well, they came from the same place as the others did. We just never heard about it.
You mean from Africa or from
No,
Europe?
no. The African people came much later.
Okay.
No, from Europe, because there were a lot of North African people who migrated to England and France and so on.
Yeah.
And they were pretty, they were pretty much...
Do you see the trike?
Yes.
Okay.
It looks like a little bumblebee.
Yeah.
So yeah, the original Americans in this country, a lot of them were blacks.
Interesting.
And there weren't as many slave-holding plantations as people are led to believe.
I'm going to try and keep an eye on this guy here.
Okay. So the slavery situation in the Caribbean was completely different than the Americas.
Really?
Oh, look at him go. Is that a single-seater or?
No, that's a double-seater. Look out over that mesa there. Isn't that gorgeous?
Magnificent. I might have to do this again sometime, maybe on the evening shift.
Yeah, when it gets a little cooler, we're going through a transition here. As fall comes in,
Right.
we'll when it gets here and the leaves start changing, that's when it's a good time to fly out here in the evening, sunset flights.
Does it get a lot colder flying then?
Oh yeah, during the mornings, absolutely. But at night, it's warmer.
Right. That's good.
When we take off in the mornings, it's guaranteed that we're going to get bumps. The longer it takes us to take off, or later in the morning, the bigger the bumps.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So, but what's nice is at night or in the evening, when the sun is when the sun's going down,
Right.
it always gets better because it gets cooler. So when it gets warmer in the morning, the bumps come up. And then at night, the bumps are there when we take off, but by the time we get back, the bumps are gone.
That's pretty amazing the way that works.
Yeah.
Look at who would have surveyed all these straight roads? Always amazes me how straight they are.
I'll tell you something that's interesting. I grew up back in New Jersey. Well, I spent a lot of time in New Jersey. And I remember when I was a kid watching TV in New Jersey, and they were selling property out here in Rio Rancho, New Mexico. I didn't know where it was, but I remember them selling land or commercials to sell land on here.
not going to
Well,
want...
we actually signed up for some land near Southern and Coors and backed out at the last minute.
Did it?
No, I think flying lower is just more scenic.
Yeah, it is. It's nice here, though. See, normally with the lower you get, the harder, the bumpier it is, and that. We're lucky right here. We found a nice path that I can come down in. I got to call the tower now.
Okay.
Tell them that I'm out here and I'm coming back.
Okay.
Watch the balloons. There's one out there. You see the couple in front of us up over the horizon?
Right, right.
Now I'll show you something here.
That looks like one right down there too. Is that one?
Yes, yes. Now watch here. Watch. I'll show you something that's happening here. Look straight down or look out and look at this this compression strut, and you'll see that we're being pushed. It's called crabbing. See, we're not flying straight across the ground. We're sort of moving this way. You see?
Right, right.
So the wind is sort of pushing us up here, and it's pushing us out a little bit. And that's called crabbing.
Why is it called crabbing?
Because we're not going straight, and it sort of looks like a crab, how a crab goes sideways.
Oh, right, gotcha. Most things, the names make sense if you realize.
Yeah.
Double Eagle Airport, double